Nikki, Easty, Nelson, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. How's everyone this
Good,
evening?
man. Very well, very well.
Good, man.
Yeah, not too bad.
So let's go straight into it. So hopefully you guys have seen the conversation that I had with Ty and Townsend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to get your opinion about the conversation.
I think it was a good open, honest conversation, man. Like, I don't really see why. I think there was some backlash about it, but I don't really see why there should have been. I think everyone was just speaking their truth at the end of the day. So I think this is what these things are for as well. Do you know what I mean? When you're on a podcast, you say what you feel in it. I don't think anyone intended anything in any negative way. So I think it was good, man.
Mm-hmm. No, I told you, I remember saying to you it was good. I think it was a good watch, man. I didn't really think it was that negative. I was just a light conversation, just airing a few things out, innit? But remember I was saying to you, I think a couple of times it was a bit on the fence with certain subjects, or there weren't no elaboration, or to elaborate on certain subjects. Because I know, I was saying to you, there's times where you're talking about something, but I don't really know what I might know what you're talking about, but the masses don't.
Yeah.
And for a podcast, in getting things out in the open and information, just got to air everything. Don't leave anything. Do you know what I mean? So that's all really. But no, it was good. It was good. It was good though.
I thought it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. Saw the little snippets beforehand, and then obviously watched the whole thing. It was good. Good watch.
I mean, I remember when Easty came up to me and said, because again, Easty's probably one of the most honest people. Like, he come up to me and say, you know, it's a good show, or Therese, man, you're kind of skirting around the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what is it that you wanted to know that we didn't touch?
I can't remember. You lot was talking about something.
I think there were specific things.
I think it was when I think your reasons leaving.
Okay.
Well, that was one of the subjects, isn't it? I think they
Yeah.
explained. You didn't really explain.
But I thought I did.
I don't think you did. I think you kind of skated over it. Or am I mix it up with another subject? But there was something, and I said to you, listen, it's your show. Whatever subject you're talking about, just talk about it. Just be open, innit? That's what it's about. Don't, because I could see that he was holding back. And I said, look, don't have to hold back, man. Just talk, man. And I said, at the end of the day, no one can have a go at you if it's facts and it's truth. They might not like it or they might not agree, but there are some people that's not going to agree with everything you say, innit? But it's your truth or your facts or how you see it, your opinion, innit? So that's all.
Like I said, I think there were certain topics that you kind of, like Easty said, you was like scratching the surface, innit? You didn't really, I think maybe out of respect for certain people or certain whatever events happened at the time, you maybe didn't want to throw people on the bus, under the bus, so to speak. So I kind of understood it from that perspective. But again, like what Easty's saying, man, it's your show, it's your platform, so speak your truth, man.
I think what it is, yeah, you know, it's not really about throwing people under the bus, but there's certain conversations that shouldn't be aired. Does that make sense?
Fair enough.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like the people that know. And of course, off air, we can kind of talk about certain things because we're all in the same footballing community. So again, for me leaving, again, it was like, as I kind of said before, for my own mental well-being.
What was your answer anyway? What was it?
Yeah, it was like
answer?
you know, literally. Again, like I felt that like season when I left, and of course, like there's always been a running joke that I don't turn up to games. There's always been and
You haven't helped yourself. You haven't helped yourself. And you know that yourself.
oh, hold on,
But you know yourself.
again,
Because we've had these little
I've got
one-to-one
these
conversations. And I
know.
said, T, like, you could be a player. And I think that was the frustration with Ray and Paul certain time is they want to see you on a consistent basis, innit?
Do you know what's funny as well? Sorry. When I first came, I was kind of inspired by his drive and his passion. I said to him, like, yeah, man, come on, man. Next season, like, we need you, man. Like, you're going to be a big player for us. He's like, yeah.
And it's true, man. That's what we were saying.
Still
And
waiting
like I
for
said,
the man to turn up.
outside of football, we work together, innit? So we'd have our little separate conversation. I said, T, like, you need to just turn up, innit? You can't come 1 game, 2 game, then we don't see you for 3, 4 games.
See,
and then we'll hear you're injured. Injured how? You hardly play. So we're like, when did you pick up an injury? Do you know what I mean? And it was, then you had something to do, then it was this, and that. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone just wanted to see, because when you play and when your head's on it, you're good. But I think if you play more consistently, you only get better. And I think that's what really important to see and get out of you. But it was always stop-start with you a little bit. So, and then obviously the whole banter in, and it just got, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
No, and again, I do take everyone's opinion. However, the last season, I was available. I was there. But again, let's not.
Yeah, but by then the competition's there though,
Yeah.
and that's where it started to get
Yeah.
more stiffer for you to even get on the pitch. So that's why I said you didn't help yourself.
But I knew I was good enough, and I think everyone knew that I was.
Yeah, but then you're up against it, innit? Like I said, competition.
Yeah.
And at the time, that season there, we was going hard.
Yeah.
Pause.
So, Nick, could you summarize Independence season last season?
Well, I'm mostly on the outskirts, so I'd come and watch whenever I can. I think they had a good season. If you look at it as a whole, one team stopped them doing the treble, possibly. Apart from that, there's no one else that really stood up to them, really, because they lost on goal difference in the league, lost in the cup to that team, and
Just mention the team, innit?
yeah, it's just that one team. So overall, like, if you look at Independent, to me, I think they got some great players. There's some great players there, and some of the games I watched, the goals that were conceded, I think they were giveaways, and I think that's overall what let them down. I don't think, especially at Charco, I don't think they really had to work for their goals. And then the goals that Independent were scoring were good goals that they worked for. And I think really that's what kind of let them down in the end. But I think coming from the division below, I think they've had a great season. Like, they should all be proud of it.
Actually, how was it playing in Division 1? Because, of course, like, was that kind of, I don't know, was there a feeling like, oh, we can have to acclimatise to a high division? Or, like, what was the turning point where, like, you were like, you know what, we can handle ourselves in this?
I think maybe the latter half of the season, I think, like, we just went into it just playing and doing what we thought was natural to us. You know what I mean? There wasn't really no pressure on us. Everyone expected us to be whipping boys or not really last. There was a lot of negativity surrounding us going up, but we just went and played football. Do you know what I mean? And then I feel like when it got to the latter part of the season, we was like, we're actually doing something here. Like, there was some belief. So yeah, it was a very interesting season. I feel like we can hold our heads up high. At the end of the day, we proved a lot of people wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it was about proving anyone wrong, but the table don't lie in it. We done all right. We was competitive in the cup. So yeah, man, I walked away happy, to be honest. A bit disappointed because I feel like we were so close, but overall, man, good season.
Can I also say, I think how they should be thinking is, like, they can do it, they can compete. I also, like, we speak a lot, I say certain games, I feel like a lot of players in that team who I would say are really good footballers, but sometimes I think the occasion got the better of them and they played within themselves. Towards the end, like he said, they just started playing, and there was just, like, they were scoring goals. Like, they just didn't really have a care, and they were just playing their game, and I think that suits them. If they can block out all the other stuff, they shouldn't have no problems.
Overall, I think we had a good season. First season, Div 1. I think we had a poor start, didn't we? We started off a bit slow. I think we lost to a team. I think we should. I remember the team we shouldn't have been losing to them now. Zidane Stars. Yeah, but then I think as the season picked up, and I think we just went on a mad run. Like the momentum just picked up, winning games, and then I think there was a little stop-start in between, a couple of games cancelled and whatever. But I think we had a good season overall. If it weren't for one team, we would have probably have a trophy in the cabinet this season again. Do you know what I mean?
So, and again, like, I think I put you guys, when we did the predictions, I said Independent would finish 4th. I said 4th, I think. And again, I think like the gap between Division 1 and Division 2 is getting smaller. Because I think back in the day, you know, I think when you can look at the teams in Division 1, they were, you know, semi-pros.
Yeah, I didn't feel a big difference between Div 2 and Div 1. Like a big major difference in the games. Like it was obviously good levels of football, but I think we handled it well. I don't think people expected us to do as well as we did.
No.
That's one thing.
I think for me the biggest difference is the football know-how. Like, you can't just win every game the same, innit? I think when we was in Div 2, we kind of just steamrolled the league up until a certain point and then it kind of derailed. But I think this year, you can't do the same things all the time. You've got to be adaptable. You've got to be able to switch it up. It's more about ball retention, I think. And like I said, the know-hows, the slowing down tactics. And do you get what I'm saying? Those little things were, for me, were the difference this year.
I think also as well, I don't think there's a lot of teams that have been like us, where we've started literally from, I think, Div 6, Div 5, Div 6 or 5? 5?
Div 5.
I think it might have been 6, wasn't it?
I think Peckham was...
I saw Div 6.
Was it Div? No,
might be 5.
Know, I think it was Div 6.
6 or 5. I think
And then I am joining Div 5. So
yeah. I think I joined in Div 5.
Yeah.
I think. And I think we're probably one of the only teams that's like worked our way up each league. One in the cup, won the league, or do you know what I mean? And consistently doing something each season and growing our team on it. Obviously, our names have changed over time: Peckham Town, LSU, and Independent. But the core team has moved its way up throughout the league. So obviously, the same manager, obviously players have come and gone, but it's been the same nucleus of players. So I think we've, like what Nelson was saying about the know-how, we've gone through games where we're down, we've won, we've come back, we've had hard games, do you know what I mean? So we've had easy games where we've just wrapped up teams real quick, took our foot off the pedal. So we've known we've played so many different types of games, from the easy games in like the early divisions right up to like Div 1. So I think we've had a good all-round feel of vets football, do you know what I mean? Like from, like I said, the easier leagues, not taking away from any other team in the league, but we've worked our way up, built a team, built our name, and done our thing, man. So I think, like I said, Div 1, I think first season, I think we've done well. Finished second, and we finished what, goal difference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, on goal difference. So I think we've done good, man.
There was something that Nelson said, which is probably, I want to talk to you, Nick, as part of the management team. That the difference between Div 2 and Div 1 is the management know-how, how to change your style of play for different teams. What are you gonna bring into like the whole management side of it now? Because like you are like new like to the management.
Well, the conversations I've had with Ray is, and from like watching, I think Independent last season, so they play. If they're playing a team like Charco, who they play quite fast, Independent can rise to that. But if they're playing a team quite slow, then Independent also plays slow. So I think like this season we want to be playing at our tempo, like every game, to how we play. That's one of the main things that we've spoken about. And we want to have a style of play and to be adaptable, like Nathan said. No, sorry. So we want to be able to change it up, but we want to. I don't want to say too much, but we have a way that we have a way that we want to go for this season, and like different ways of playing that we've been speaking about, because it's been a lot.
But sometimes I don't think
individuals.
it's that bad. Like when you're playing like Div 1, I don't think it's that bad in having different styles of play as well, and instead of playing one way. Because when you play one way, teams will just work you out real quick, and then just know how to either defend or who's the weak link, do you know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything wrong in. Sometimes Div 1, you might have to have a plan A, B, and C. Do you know what I mean? Because you're playing different teams. You might play a slower team. They ain't got pace, but they know how to defend. You just can't get around them. So you're going to have to know how to switch up. Sometimes we might have to do the long ball thing and use man's pace behind. And do you know what I mean? And sometimes knock it around teams. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's good having different styles of play as well.
I mean, something that Independent have, which a lot of teams don't have. They have an influx of players, 16, 17 people, like plus. You know, do you think that was a hindrance last season?
I think it played a part in hindering maybe the unity of the team, because I mean, like, if you're getting 16, 17 man every week, they're not all gonna play. Do you get what I'm saying? And then, like, there's always gonna be people who are a bit disgruntled. People are always gonna form their little cliques and be moaning about certain things, and it makes the manager's job hard, innit? Because he's got loads of things he has to do behind the scenes, innit? We just think, he just picks a team and that's it. But then he's got to be having maybe 17 different conversations and trying to keep this person happy and that person. So I think it depends. I think if everybody knows their role and everybody knows where they stand from the get-go, then it's okay and it's easier to manage 17 different headspaces in it. But if the communication isn't there and the uni isn't there, then it can lead to the bricks falling. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends on how the situation is managed, I think.
Easty, correct me if I'm wrong. So you're in semi-retirement?
Retirement. Not semi. I would say no. I spoke to the gaffer Ray, and I said, because I was actually going to retire last summer, but I looked at it and I thought, hold on, the main goal was to make it to Div 1. Do you know what I mean? And crack Div 1. Do you know what I mean? So I said, no, I can't bail out now and not give Div 1 a go, innit? So I said to Ray. Ray kind of knew from last season this was kind of brewing for me. And I said, no, I do Div 1, and then, hang up the boots after that. Mainly because my reasons obviously work, family, just getting time to spend with my family. Do you know what I mean? So I was, takes a lot of your time on a Saturday. And I've been doing this consistently for like 5 years now. Like, as soon as I hit 35, jump straight back to vets. Do you know what I mean? So I've given my Saturdays. And Ray knows, obviously, I've been there from basically from the start, really. So I said, comes a point where, plus my body, man, my back, I was getting injuries, and I'm not feeling, and then sometimes I'm not feeling my greatest because your body's not, and then sometimes I'll try and play through the injuries because I want to play, but then I'm not getting the best out of myself, and I'm going on thinking, I didn't even play that good today. But it's because at the beginning of the morning I want to play in it, so I'm trying to put the injury or my little niggles behind me, and I'm like, I can't do this for another season. Do you know what I mean? So there's a little number of reasons, but that was the main reasons, like just family, getting time. I've had 2 little ones in the space of 3 years. Do you know what I mean? So I just need to spend time with them, and it's a commitment. And I did say to Ray though, if it comes to like a point where they ain't got enough players or it's bare injuries or like just for 1 week there's just not enough, man, I'll come and play. Do you know what I mean? So I'm retired, but an odd game I might play. Do you know what I mean? But I'm retiring.
So what's kind of been the biggest highlight for you? And also as well, I also want to say, when I was at Independent, you was probably one of the quietest people on the WhatsApp group, and I'll say in general, but see, when you speak with purpose. Does that make sense? Like you don't mix up your words. Like where does
My mum always taught me. My mum always taught me, speak when spoken to. I've always taught that. Just speak. I always talk. You know what I mean? Sometimes just keep your mouth closed and just talk when you need to be spoken. Do you know what I mean? When you need to speak. But no, I've been. I thought I was pretty vocal in the group with the banter and everything. I don't really like serious conversations. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes in the group, some subjects will come up. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay out of this. It's like politics,
Certain man take it.
racism talks, and I'm like, yeah, because you don't know, because you might say something and then you don't. Remember, there's different personalities in the group, innit? Different opinions, and sometimes you think, you know what? Let me just stay out of this one. Let me just keep my mouth closed. But then sometimes when I have something to say, yeah, I do speak my mind, innit? And I find it hard, and that's why sometimes I don't say some things because I don't know who's gonna rattle. Do you know what I mean? And I can be very blunt. Do you know what I mean? When I say things, obviously you know, innit? Like I've got you many a times outside of football. You see how I'm at work, but my highlight, I would say, biggest highlight. Do you know what? I think I would say our first cup. You know,
Okay.
I think our first cup because that was a good game. That was a good final.
You know what I'm gonna say, innit?
VCD, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
You know what I'm gonna say.
I know what you're gonna say. Yes, you got the man. You got man of the match, innit? Yeah, you got man of the match. Yeah, you got man of the match.
What position did you play in that game?
Centre back.
Centre back. Yeah. No, that was a good game.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I think for our first cup, how we won it, and I think we was playing. They were Div 1.
They were Div 1. We were Div 4.
Yeah, VCD.
VCD. No one gives a chance.
Yeah, I don't think they played now. I don't think they're about now. But no, I think that was probably one of the biggest highlight for me. And then the next cup that we won down at, I don't even know these grounds. Was it Glebe? Was it Glebe?
It wasn't Glebe. It was Long Lane, I think.
Was it Long Lane? Yeah. Oh yeah, but I'll say our biggest highlight I think was our first cup. Yeah.
So Nelson, you again I remember when you first joined the team. It was against LSU B, and I was at Wallenham. It was the first time I saw you play. And I remember you came on and you was saying if the quality you was kind of taking it from the centre backs. You was kind of interchanging with everyone. I'm thinking, okay, we've got a player here now. And then there was a period where it seemed, because again, I think you, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're not feeling right within yourself, then you go into your shell.
Definitely. Yeah.
And there was a period where, again, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you kind of left the team.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about that period of your footballing journey?
So basically, I feel like we started that season. I think that was the beginning of season 2, right? Div 2, I mean.
Yes.
Because I joined halfway through 3, I believe. And then I started. So the beginning of Div 2, we was playing games, we was winning. But for me personally, I don't think we was playing good football. And that could just be by my standards, innit? Maybe that's wrong for me to say that or whatever, but that was just my view. So there's a few times I'd aired my opinion. I understand the management views at the time, why they're going to change something that's winning in it, something's working, blah, blah, blah. But it's like I could see what was going to happen, or I believed I could see what was going to happen. And I thought that eventually you can't just beat everybody the same way. Eventually everyone's going to clock on that our striker's mad fast and all you got to do is maybe a low block. Do you know what I mean? So then I kind of felt like because I was outspoken, maybe I was seen as the black sheep, so to speak. I was always outspoken, whatever. And then I think it was the Catford game. We lost that game. It was a very good game. Credit to Catford that day. They'd done what they needed to do. We lost. And I think there was a conversation after that game and it kind of just went a bit left. So for me, I was just like, do you know what? My headspace can't take this right now. I was kind of going through some stuff for the missus and blah, blah, blah. So for me, football was my release. It now became the thing that's causing me stress also. So I was like, do you know what? I need to just bounce for a little bit. And then it was hard because I don't like letting people down. I'm a kind of a people pleaser. So it's like I'm letting down my friends, I'm letting down the team. But at the same time, me and the manager's not really seeing eye to eye. And looking back, I can actually say that if I was in a different headspace, it probably would have been handled different. Because I'm generally somebody who can conversate quite well in it. But at the time, I was just probably angry at lots of different things, you know what I mean? So it probably just all came out the wrong way. And if I'm looking back, I can definitely say and own the fact that I could have done better in it, and I should have done for not only myself, but for my teammates, you know what I mean? So it was definitely a learning curve, man. It was definitely a learning curve.
Do you like feel that you let the team down?
100%. 100%. I mean, you wouldn't go to war. You personally wouldn't go to war and then just leave your teammates on the battlefield. Do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of feeling I took away from it. At the end of the day, like, I could have put it all to one side because really there was probably like 5 games left. Do you know what I mean? I probably could have just put it to one side and just carried on in it. But at the time, like I said, my headspace was just somewhere else in it. So I was taking things personal, whereas it probably weren't personal. Really, I was probably moving mad. And the manager's telling me I'm moving mad, but I'm not trying to hear him. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, I'm not in school. Like, I'm being reprimanded for things, just stupid things, innit? So definitely feel like I let my teammates down. Because we ended up losing the league. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? Hindsight's a different thing, innit? Like, if I had played, we might have won. So I definitely had that on my shoulders.
Nick, so you're part of the management now, and how did that conversation come about? And what are you going to do different from Paul, who's kind of left independent? I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn. Has he left? Has he?
He's gone.
Has he gone? So I mean, like, yeah, what are you going to do differently?
I don't know how to answer that really, because I just do me, and that's like I'm just what I only know how to be one way, and that's like I'm quite outspoken, respectfully. So like, how did it come about? It's kind of a stitch-up job.
It's always the way at football
like,
level.
Like these lot, and then I don't even know how. Then I was one day in Halfords getting my daughter's bike, and I've got text messages and phone calls that Ray's gonna call me and whatever. Then we had a conversation. He spoke about how he likes to work, because there was a perception of Ray that he's just stubborn and he does things his own way, and so like when it's a perception.
I'll tell Ray. I'll tell Ray he's stubborn. It's not a perception.
So when these things were happening and people were like, oh, you should, obviously Paul's gone, offered to help him, because I come to the games and we speak. Like in the game, these guys will ask me certain things. I'll say certain things to them or what I see. But anyway, yeah. So that happened. Spoke to Ray. He said how he works, and I said I'm quite outspoken. So if I like have something to say, I'm gonna say it, which he received quite well. Said that's what he welcomes. Also, he said obviously he's the manager, so he does listen. He wants like different view, different opinions, whatever. But if he also has something he's strongly about, then he's the manager. He's going to go with it, which I totally respect. So we had a conversation, and we spoke a few times, had a few meetings, and just seems like it can work. Because my main thing was like I said, I'm outspoken, so I'm not going to just stand there and not have something to say. And he welcomed it, so I don't see how there will be any problems really. But time will tell.
And
what's the one game where you felt Independent didn't play to their full potential, and why?
Most of them were friends, so I was very, very disappointed. The Hollerton game,
Yeah, I was
Okay.
too.
I thought I was like,
Credit to Holland though.
you know, they're a good team. But I know my friends and I've watched them a lot, and I was like, that game, I don't want to say they was scared or whatever, but they didn't play themselves, in my opinion. Like passing, everything. I don't know, it was just off, and I was very disappointed watching that game. Obviously, they won it on penalties in the end, but footballing reasons like him, I don't think he did much. Um, yeah, I just wasn't impressed with that game. Didn't like that game. So that would be the game I'd say.
What's the one thing that you think that the Football League can actually change or improve on?
I think I don't know how it works, but some of the fixtures, man, the way games are just getting cancelled, or the way there's like a gap, like you might not play for 3-4 weeks. Like I said, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but for me, that kind of killed everyone last season. Do you know what I mean? It was 2 stop start. I'm hearing now where everyone can enter more cup competitions, which is good. The only thing for me, and I think everyone's gonna say similar things, is the referees, man.
Just about to say that, you know.
The refs. But I get it,
Refs.
because who wants to be a ref? And if there isn't a large supply of referees, then you can only work with what you got. But
Yeah, especially, I think when you know you're playing in Div 1, you want a certain level of refereeing. I think when you like say Div 4, you know you're gonna get them kind of games in it. But Div 1, it's like so serious. You want your refs to be serious and on it and at a certain level. Do you know what I mean? Some of the refs we had,
some of that crazy, man.
shocking, terrible.
But do you think clubs will actually pay more for free officials?
I think we should. I think personally, I think everyone should, because it's weird. Like, you get your own people being a linesman.
But that's always been like the thing, though.
I get it, but then obviously,
But that's the change we want to see, though, isn't it? We
You know what
shouldn't
I'm
really
saying?
have
Am I
to.
really gonna? Everyone's gonna lean towards their own team. Do you know what I mean? As much as you want to be unbiased, like, you don't want to see your team lose at the same time. So I don't feel like people should be put in that situation, innit? But I get it, innit? Like, unless people are paying for linos and officials, then this is how it goes, innit? But I think that's just little things like that. Otherwise, I think it's all good, man, personally.
I mean, for me personally, with the teams cancelling games or forfeiting points,
Yeah, that's
like that didn't make sense to me. And again, I don't know what was said within independent, but losing it on a game that didn't get played, like, that's a bit of the kick of the teeth. I mean, I think there should be a fine for like teams that literally give other teams walkovers, because then you will get teams that will probably turn out with 8-9 players and still play, rather than forfeiting a £50 or £100 fine.
I agree. But it's a catch-22 though, because obviously certain people just come out for the enjoyment on a Saturday.
Not in Div 1.
I think there is still a couple teams, man.
In
Like,
Div 1.
Personally, why would you give away points? And if you was that if you was that competitive and you was on it, why would you just forfeit a game?
I think as well, some of it goes back to what you were saying about the fixtures, where some teams got fixtures, some don't. So those that are not competing for nothing come the end,
Yeah, there's like whatever.
like bother. But if all the fixtures are kind of played at the same time, then it will stay that way. But for whatever reason, it doesn't go that way.
I also think the cup finals should happen
At
at
the
the end of the season.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, at least there's something to look forward to at the end. Do you know what I mean? That's just kind of how I've always played football.
Okay. Wasn't the cup final played at the end of the season? Which
I don't know whether it was
No?
because of
No.
how the fixtures panned out this season, but I believe
Because
the
that
LSU game and the Charcoal game was supposed to be played on a Wednesday or something.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
they still had like another 2 or 3 games after that.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I mean, I don't know too much about the league, but I know. I mean, I think we all know Nana. Actually, Nana's really outspoken, and you know, he's a kind of open. He's a kind of open guy, and I know that he's like trying, and a lot of the other committee members are trying. But again, it's like how much do you charge teams with the cost of living getting more expensive now? And again, like with the grass pitches, they're not great. You know, like a little bit of rain, you know, teams just don't like want to kind of play now. So you know, I think a few things have to change. I don't know what, but yeah, I kind of thought looking at Div like 1 and looking how many games that were, you know, that got cancelled. It just didn't make sense to me.
No.
You know?
I remember, like, I think speaking to Dus from Santos, like there was a period of time, I don't know if, I think it's happened to them like 2 years in a row where they haven't played games for like 3-4 games, and then like it's hard to build up your momentum, and I think that kind of increases the risk of injuries and stuff as well. Like when you're playing consistent, I think it's easy to maintain your body and your mentality and the rhythm, and then just ain't got a game for 4 weeks. It's mad.
I think the same thing happened speaking to Craig at Hollerton. And they're going for the league. That's a bit unfair on them as well. They're not playing for weeks.
It's mad.
It's crazy how it happens.
Do you think Division 1 should be open to a lot more teams?
Is there restrictions on it?
I mean, right now, I think Hollington and Wallingham have gone up. But I think there's maybe 2 or 3 teams in Division 2 that would hold themselves, including Catford. I'm not saying Catford are going to win it, but we're not going to be forfeiting games.
Yeah.
So rather than having more divisions, having less divisions with more teams in.
It makes sense.
Because again, like I think any Premier Division that should be all your marquee teams.
How many teams got in our league?
I think it's 12.
I'm not sure, you know.
Because if you look, Long Lane folded, Leone Stars were teetering. Who else? Is it Cudham as well?
No, I don't think they was in our league, was they? There was 2 teams that folded though.
It was Long Lane and
Was it Bow Street?
That's it.
no,
Bow Street, innit? Bow Street?
Bow Street is in our league. Div 2.
I can't remember the other team then. There's definitely 2 teams that folded.
Not that Johnson and
No,
Yes.
no.
Didn't they fold? I'm sure they
No.
folded. Didn't they merge with someone? Who merged? 2 teams merged.
see, that's my problem. I never. I can't remember these teams. I don't remember all these teams, man.
But I mean, hey, like it's a possibility. But again, I think we've probably got to bang down a few doors before that happens. So regarding mental well-being and mental health, I mean, is there anything that you guys do to kind of maintain like a balanced life? Or
For me personally, I don't know. I think I talk to a lot of people and I gain perspective because I think that's vital to have different understandings and different views of situations, because when you're going through something, you're probably tunnel visioned. You probably only see it one way. But then obviously speaking to different people can give you different insights into different things and help you make sense of whatever it is that you're going through. So for me personally, I try to talk to different people and just gain perspective and then just reflect a lot, man. Just reflect a lot.
I think for the first time I done it towards the end of the season. Remember when I put in the group about how I was vexed about not playing the last couple of games, whatever. I think that's probably the first time I actually really aired how I felt. Do you know what I mean? Because more time, Ray knows. There's been times where if I get played, if I get 20 minutes, half hour, I don't really give the gaffer too much problems. But it just bugged me, man. It bugged me that I didn't get. Now, what it was is that I think what bugged me the most, in my head, I know I'm finishing. I know I'm retiring at the end of the season. It's getting to the end. I played well. A couple man even said, "Yeah, Eastman, you played well." with Santos. And even Ray, he doesn't do this a lot. He actually told me, like, Eastley played well today, he played well done, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of felt, do you know what I mean? You felt good about yourself, do you know what I mean? And then the next game, I was running late. But I told Ray, because he always said, like, just let us know and whatever. So I made sure I messaged him because I wanted to play the next game. Because I think it was still another big game. Was it Charcoal?
I think so.
Was it after Santos?
No, you played.
It was a game between
You
the
played
Santos.
the game between.
Yeah,
them.
but I wanted to play that game to keep my momentum up because the last guy I played well, innit? So I mentioned I'm gonna be late, whatever. I mean, Ray's spoken about this now, so we've already gone over this now. So if you, do you know what I mean? But I didn't start because I got there late. But even when I got there, he had just named the team, but we still didn't change it. No one had changed, and I had my kit on. 'Cause I always have my kit on underneath. Do you know what I mean? So I was still kind of half ready just to go out and start warm up and whatever. But I didn't start. I didn't get on. Didn't play no minutes. The next game didn't play no minutes. That's 2 games in a row. And I was just bugged. I was like, bro, that's the end of my football now. Do you know what I mean? Because I ain't got no more games.
Yeah.
But I was vexed, and I was saying to Ray, I think in the last game, I think it was against Charcoal, innit? And I was vexed I didn't even get 5 minutes. I said, even if you just put me on just a little run out for the last game, I'm gonna play for Independent. Do you know what I mean? So when I was speaking to them lot in the group, and I said how I felt, a couple of them said, nah, Easty, you can't be like that. That's selfish and rare. I was like, and that was the first time where I actually sat back and I thought, wow, am I being selfish? and I actually understood what they were saying, but it still, like, personally, I was just a little bit bugged that I didn't get on. Just a little, oh, man's leaving. He's been there for a long time. Go and get 5 minutes. But I get when the man was saying, no, but Eastman, that game was tight. You couldn't mess with nothing then. It was just too, and I got it. I had to think about it. I was like, instead of arguing back, sometimes you're too quick. People that sometimes we're too quick just to throw something back instead of just thinking about what someone's just told you and process it. So I processed it. I said, well, okay, I have to respect what the man them said still. It might be looking a bit selfish. But then I did speak to the gaffer after that. And the gaffer said, you know, Easty, you had all rights to feel that way. Because, yeah, how you're thinking, I see what you're... He said it, like, I see where you're coming from. So you don't look at it from a selfish point of view, because I see how you was thinking, but at the same time, yeah, it was the type of game it was. It was just too tight. It couldn't really tinker with the back four. And I said, no, I get it, because even the man them showed me, do you know what I mean? So I kind of processed it. So that already helped me pat myself down and say, you know what, yeah. Even though I didn't feel I was being selfish, but I still understood what the man them was saying. But then I understood what Gaffer was saying. So it was all squashed after that and everything. So after that, it was all good. So yeah.
Do you kind of find it difficult separating your football journey to your life journey? Because having those emotions, it's hard to park that outside and then coming indoors to your family and not having that feeling of, oh, you know.
I know, football's easy for me. Because my problems have been peak. So football, that's light work. As I said, that's my little stress relief at the end of the week. Do you know what I mean? Just can't be with a man then play football and have a laugh and a joke, banter and whatever. But nah, the football was that's easy for me.
I think obviously I hate losing and stuff, but once I go home, it's you have to forget about it, innit? Do you know what I mean?
And to you, Nick, and again, this is like probably a question to everyone. I mean, is there any kind of situations where like you've like been in that's kind of tested your kind of mental strength, and actually how like did you get through that period?
To be fair, in the last 4 or 5 years, Nels, I'll say, I've had like a lot of health problems. So, like, I can't play no more at the moment, football. And we grew up playing, like 7s, 11 aside, whatever it is, for years. But so then, for me, I found it hard. So I disappeared. Didn't go and watch these lot play football and stuff like that because it was hard for me. Then the last, I don't know, year or so, again, I find myself by myself a lot, and like a lot of reflecting, a lot of thinking, too much thinking. But at the same time, I realise I'm losing out on a lot of other stuff. So, like my friends and stuff like that. So, obviously I don't play football. We do other stuff. We have a little group, and go play pool or whatever. And it's helped me come out more. So now I can come around football a lot more and speak and be there and, you know, crack jokes and stuff. And again, here I am now, part of the management team. But before it was very hard for me. I'd just, be alone, really, because I can't do what I want to do. But talking, that's the main thing. Like he said, we've got a group, speak to my friends all the time. They just keep me, like, I don't know, they keep me going, I guess. You know, it's all right, Nick, you know, you'll come again.
Yeah. I think the older we become, the more, especially as men, I don't know, it's almost like a double-edged sword, because from your teens to your 20s, it's all about ego and bravado. And then I'd say probably in the late years of your 20s to your mid-30s, it's still a bit ego, but then the people who you've grown up with, those are your family, that, you know, it's brothers, innit? So then you can start opening up to them. And then the older you become, you know, everyone kind of goes through certain situations. And that's literally where you need those people around you, like the pillars, innit? Like the pillars of your, you know, of your building.
100%. And I think it's difficult because growing up, like, I don't know what everyone's situation is different, but growing up, like, I was never told to speak about how I feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might go through something, like, I've grew up with Nick for years, like, we've been through mad different things. And it's only like, over the last 10 years, we've actually opened up about them. Like, I'm like, raw, like, how come we've never, do you get what I'm trying to say? But nobody teaches you these things, innit? Nobody tells you, as a man, you're supposed to be hard. You get what I'm trying to say? So, me talking to Nick about how I feel, he's going to think I'm an idiot. Do you know what I mean? But really, he's my friend. He shouldn't judge me. But we're programmed to believe that we have to be a certain way, innit? Like,
male pride. It's always just male
mad,
pride and
isn't it?
ego. It's mad because you hear, like, and the thing is, man, we all say the same thing. No, we don't talk because we're supposed to be strong and supposed to be, you don't want to look weak. But we all say, that's why I think now it's slowly coming out a bit more. The more and more the subject comes up,
yeah, I think there's a lot
man,
of
I
awareness
just
around it
talk.
now.
You get me? Because I've spoken to a couple of brethren. I said, listen, bro, we're all going through things. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, we're all going through. You're not the only one. So, just talk, let it out. Do you know what I mean? So, I think now it's getting it's going to be it's going to be slow, but I think more and more, I think the subject comes up more. I think men will talk more. I think, or we should talk more.
Definitely.
We should talk more because it does help, and you don't realize when you talk, someone else might have gone through the similar thing, or they might relate to what you're saying. They'll give you advice, or you can give someone advice, and the different opinions bounce off each other, and you realize as you come away from that conversation, you feel a bit better, or you feel like you might have a new drive, or you might take that person's little input and then just input into your situation, and it can all, I'm not saying it's going to make it all better, but it can help, do you know what I mean? So I definitely think we got to talk more as a male community, definitely.
And like something I've got to commend Independent about doing is like, again, like they're like, I've never been in a football group where it's so active. But you know, again, like you can kind of quickly figure out, okay, so this is like the person that's like the joker. This is the person that I can talk serious about. And again, like if like anyone is going through like something, you can just look at like your WhatsApp thread and think, okay, you know what, I can kind of call this person and go, you know what, I'm going through something, like I just need your help or advice or just to listen. So yeah, I've got to commend Independent for that, 100%, man, 100%. And what kind of advice would you kind of give to like any men over 30, over 35 about, again, mental health and opening up?
Similar to what Eastie was saying, man, like everybody's going through something. Everybody. Like, I think it's easy to, when you are going through something, go into a show and just, that's how people get depressed and stuff, innit? Like, you can't regulate and manage your mind, innit? So you just hide away. At the end of the day, you shouldn't really feel like people are judging you, innit? I think when you're going through something, you probably don't want to talk about certain things. You think, oh, he's going to judge me, he's going to think this, he's going to think that. Like, at the end of the day, again, I think people need to find ways to manage their ego, so to speak, because it's your ego that's telling you don't want to be judged, or you don't want somebody to think certain things about your situation, or do you know what I mean? When really, like, that's the time when you should be vulnerable. You should be able to reach out to someone, because it's mad. Man will ask you to borrow £50, but won't tell you he's depressed or
Yeah,
he's going.
true.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like we just need to understand that life is full of ups and downs, man. And the people that are around you, you've got them around you for a reason. Unless you're surrounded by yes people, you've got them people around you for a reason, innit? So, like, leverage them, man. That's what they're there for.
Ultimately, I think it makes it worse hiding it, because it just eats you up inside. And if you don't share it with someone, or sometimes you might have something you might have to just tell one person, but just telling that one person, you can feel so much better rather than holding it for so long, trying to deal with it yourself, because you can't deal with everything yourself. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you need someone's input, sometimes you need someone's opinion, sometimes you need someone's advice, and do you know what I mean? I think that's what we probably do a lot. We try and just handle it ourselves, innit? Instead of just, let me ring Nels, see what Nels thinks, or I know Tabriz is kind of good, let me just ring him. Even though sometimes I think and I think we probably do it a lot, like, let me phone so and so, but you don't do it. If I bet that person will know what I'm talking about, but then you get to the point you think, nah, and then you just try and deal with it yourself. So I think that's what we have a problem with as well. But I think as time goes on, I think it will get easier.
I think
Should
nowadays there's a lot more awareness around it. And but again, like, if you're not comfortable talking to someone, man, open up a book, write something down, like, listen to a podcast. Like, there's loads of things you can do now, and you don't have to be by yourself in it. And that's the main thing. Like, don't be by yourself in it.
And if it's not even talking to someone you know, talk to someone random.
Simple.
Someone who don't know your situation, so they don't know nothing about you, they can't judge you, and that kind, they just know for what you're telling them. Do you know what I mean? That also can help as well. But,
Nick?
No, I agree. Like, for me personally, just talking has helped me. I started with my mum, I guess. She was like, be there for me for everything. But then obviously friends, and like, they just feed positive to you, and after a while you're like, yeah, like, I can, you know, I can do this sort of
It's
thing.
not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like, just talking, and then obviously, also when you speak, you let someone else know that it's alright for them to speak. Like, it's just like an ongoing cycle.
domino effect. Yeah.
And then before you know it, in your circle, you're all supporting each other, like a brotherhood sort of thing. Like, some of the conversations we've had in our group, like, for hours, we're just on the phone about stuff, or giving advice, you know, to partners or whatever. Like, some of us are known as hotheads, then some of the calm ones, like, no, you can't react.
Who's the hothead? Come on now.
In our group.
Yeah. Oh.
What, in independent or in my little circle?
Hotheads.
In independent?
In independent.
In the group, hotheads.
Chewy.
I don't think she's that bad, you know.
Nah, mate.
I don't think he's that bad in the groups.
I respect Chewy highly, yeah. But he's got a short fuse. He doesn't say much. And that's the problem. You can't.
No, but that's what I kind of like about Chewy, because he won't be vocal a lot in the group, but then, you know, when he does pop up, you know, whatever he's saying, he means it. He means it. Do you know what I mean?
But he doesn't have
ain't got a filter.
He doesn't have a calm way of saying
No,
it.
no, but sometimes,
Straight
but sometimes you got to have players like that. You got to have people like that. Do you know what I mean? Don't mix their words, kind of thing. But
We got a few
still,
of those, though.
I don't think he's disrespectful. Though.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I kind of rate him, that he just says it how it is, and you just got to take it, innit? But nah.
We got a few hotheads, man. I can definitely. I think I'm on the edge. When I'm playing football, yeah, it's a different side of me. But in general, I'm quite level-headed.
Yeah. I mean, again, like exactly what you said before, sometimes it's about trying to manage your emotions in that kind of, those clutch moments.
Yeah.
You have to, sometimes you have to.
You know? And again, where do you guys think Independent are going to finish next season? Silence.
No, like, realistically, if we build on what we've got, then I can't see us falling off. Do you know what I mean? You can say the season was a bit mad because obviously the stop-start games, obviously the LSU game got thrown, whatever, like points got taken away. So the season was mad, but personally, I feel like if we add to what we got, then it could be a very good season. So I don't even like talking too much about predictions and all of that. I just feel like if we give a good account of ourselves, we do very well. Simple. We're starting to iron out the kinks. We're starting to actually be a team. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was our biggest problem over the years. Like, well, I've only been there 2.5 years, so I think that was, for me, it's all good turning up and being 11 individuals, because you could have 11 individual quality players. But how do you make that into a team, innit? And I think like now, slowly, everyone's starting to understand their strengths and weaknesses, and it's all come together nicely, man. So I'm definitely going to say we'll be there or thereabouts.
I'll probably say...
You're retired now.
Yeah,
so
but
you can say what you want.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Now
I'm not
you're
going to
doing me.
I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm not going to sit. I'm going to say there's one team we need to beat.
That's it.
There's one team we need to beat, and I think if we beat them, I reckon we take the league. So I reckon personally, first or second again, because I don't think we don't fear no team. We don't fear no team, but there's just one team we have to beat, and until we do that, do you know what I mean? So I'll say first or second, definitely.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think obviously there's some very good teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very competitive.
And the team that's just come up, they're very good as well. And I think they'll be very strong. But ultimately, the team that we have to beat is the team that beat us 3 times.
4 times.
3. And one was a draw.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So
To me, it's like a loss, isn't it?
but yeah, you have to beat them.
Upset.
Like, I think any team that can beat them or finish above them will probably win the league.
I like to see what Holland's going to do next season.
I like to see a lot of teams, man.
They're going to be strong. I mean, like, I think it'd be usual suspects again. LSU, Holland, Santos, Independent, Charcoal. I think those 5 teams is going to be the battle. And the big ones, I think.
I think there'll be a few upsets for the season, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think there'll definitely be a few upsets.
I think I can probably say what I want because I'm not part of the division. But again, I think it all depends on who teams sign. So, but yeah, I think Hollandton are gonna surprise a few. Well, it's not really a surprise. I think they were kind of made for Div 1. I think Independent are gonna come close. Do I think that was last season was the perfect opportunity, almost like the perfect storm? Yes. LSU were like not firing after like the incident. Of course, like Charcoal were kind of in and out, and playing them 4 times. Like after the second time, personally, I thought you guys would have sussed them out.
Yeah, I didn't like having to play them 4 times though.
But I mean, again, like if you can play like one team 4 times, I'm expecting at least.
I think, do you know what, yeah? I think mentally they had the beating of us before we even kicked the ball.
It's a better
Mentally, do you know why? And I give their manager a lot of credit. Like, he knows how to play the game, innit? He definitely does. And they've got a lot of players who have played at a level. So they don't really need much management. Do you know what I mean? Maybe in-game management, but they know how to do their stuff, innit? Yeah, I just think psychologically they had us before we even kicked the ball. So if we can overcome that, because we've shown we can match them,
especially at their ground. I think that's probably. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's the most intimidating ground, but again, I think I've said it before. I don't know if it's a psychological ploy, but they have those barriers around the pitch and especially at this level.
Yeah, the people the people that's watching, they stand quite close to the pitch, innit? Even on
Yeah,
that
on-
side where
yeah.
the cars are, innit?
Yeah, the cars are, but like
They
they've
got very close to the pitch, though.
but like they've actually got like a marker like around the pitch, right? And at this level, you only see that at cup finals.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a psychological play, but I saw it straight away. I'm like, oh, okay. So like already when you're kind of going into the ground and when you're going onto the pitch, there's some players that haven't played at that kind of level, and I think, oh my gosh, it's a cup final. You know, it's against a team that just at this present moment win everything, no matter what people say. Yes, the manager is Marmite. I think people know in terms of how I feel about him, which again, this is probably not the show, but yes, he kind of knows how to win football games, and like their players are serial winners as well. And yeah, I think
They got a good group there, though. They got a good
Yeah,
team.
definitely got a good balance.
cool. Nikki, who's part of the management, thank you so much for like coming on. Easty, who's semi-retired.
Retired.
He's semi-retired.
But I'm still around. I'm still part of the setup. I'm still union. And still helping out with management now. So yeah, I'm still around.
And Nelson, the conductor at Independent. Again, when I first saw you play, I'm like, this guy is just controlling the whole midfield.
I'm washed up, man.
Again, thank you so much for like coming
No
on.
problem, man.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
for having
us.
us.